which sets mankind free from all It is Saint Germain. It cannot be requalified by human qualifications. Rejoice, and be free. It is Saint Germain's wish that I voice to you my love and the love of the great host of ascended masters who are ministering to the children of earth, in their search for freedom and their ascension. Your great loving hearts in their great call have received an answer. Saint Germain assures me and you that at the first opportunity time permits, you shall have the messengers in your midst. They must go east after the sunrise service and Pan-Pacific class. The need is very great there, and it will again establish conditions of harmony so that they may return to the West in the future. In your state of Texas, at a former time, there was a focus here of great light. This is one of the reasons why our good messenger, Mr. Stickell, has been impelled to work so largely in this locality and about this central focus. You will remember, in reading the books, the civilization of 70,000 years ago at this point on the earth, as well as in the Sahara Desert, there was also a great focus of light. It was not far from here. That is the reason why Texas must 23. Go forward in her recognition of the light. You, who are here, now that your attention is called to it, will be able to draw a very much greater focus and radiation, not only of the ancient light which was focused here, but you can expand and amplify your own, by your attention having been called to this greater focus. Throughout America there is coming a concerted action through this work, and we give such gratitude to the Divine Director for having requested that the group regulations be held uniform throughout America. One day you shall know how great has been the blessing of this uniform activity. The outer man, or the human self, even after the attention is called to the presence, in the newness of it while adjusting to the greater ideals, has required time as you humanly know it, to assimilate and realize deeply what the simplicity of this work is. You have been assured time and again that it is the exact instruction, the exact application which we, as ascended beings, did use when we had human forms like your own. It is the exact application which all of the ascended masters have used, to attain their freedom and the ascension. Those of the beloved students who will feel this truth deeply can be free. You will notice, we constantly stress the feeling, because that is your powerhouse, and when the students really feel the truth of this good brother's experiences, especially the ascension which took place on the side of Mount Shasta, then you will know positively there is no limitation for you any longer, in the acceptance of your mighty I Am presence. If you will be firm and determined in calling your presence into action, there is not one solitary thing of human limitation or seeming obstruction that can remain in your pathway. I assure you it means firm, determined, constant application, until the human appearance of limitation goes down before it. No discord or limitation can stand before it, if you will continue to apply this law earnestly and with determination. As you gain momentum in your recognition and acceptance of the presence, you will find every step becomes easier and easier. Our joy is boundless in finding so many of mankind joyously ready and willing to accept this knowledge, which at first seems so unusual and transcendent. Yet it is very practical, all of it, dear hearts. It is as practical as anything in your outer world. It is only because human concepts have made transcendent activities unusual, that any such feeling acts within the individual, preventing often the use of these simple, transcendent qualities, which really are within every human being. For instance, the power of your attention, vision, and qualification is so gigantic when consciously controlled. These activities sound so simple, and yet they are majestic, and contain within them the power of the mighty I Am presence, and the universe. Your attention, precious ones, is the most powerful attribute in the use of mankind, and it always has been, because what your attention is upon, you compel yourself to become, even in the human form. When you realize that your attention has been on discord, limitations, seeming obstructions of every kind, and human creations, then you know why you have compelled yourselves to live in them, because of the power of your attention. When you turn from that and give your attention to the presence, where all perfection, all intelligence is, you give it all power to flow forth in your world. Your presence will reverse not only your attention, visualization, and qualification, but the very law compels it to act according to where your attention is. You will see at once the great power, the great intelligence which is yours in the mighty I Am presence, for it beats your heart and gives you life. When your attention is turned to your presence, you have its full power flowing into you and your world, not only to produce health in your body, but to flow out in your world to harmonize and make your every heart's desire possible. Precious ones, do you realize that every desire of your heart is God in action, the mighty I Am? Presence. See? Presence? You might say to me, how about the undesirable desire? It is still the mighty energy of God acting, but requalified by your discordant feeling. See? Each one alone, precious ones, is responsible for everything that takes place in his or her world. Individuals, however, have not known this. They have felt something outside, as responsible for their conditions, but after all, that is not true. Every individual person is responsible for what is in his own world. Each one has either created it or, possibly unknowingly, has admitted it. Do you see? You do not have to admit anything into your world but the presence. You must realize that your attention to the presence is not only your protection, but prevents, if you will hold firmly to it, any requalification, any picturing through your vision of anything undesirable in your world. Before you knew of your presence, you could not look upon a discordant thing without accepting it into your feeling world. This was very important to you. Wherever your attention went, you compelled that to enter your feeling world because there was no protection. Having turned away from the presence consciously, you must go back to the presence consciously. Therefore, when you come to know the mighty I Am presence, you realize all that acts in your world must come through your attention or call to the presence. Then, you will see how you become the master of your world in the acceptance of your presence, and how you alone are responsible for all that is within it. As our blessed Saint Germain so often has said, you are the decreer for your world. Decree a thing and it shall be established unto you. Therefore, while we have the opportunity in this very quiet, charged atmosphere, you will register what I say very much more definitely and clearly. That is why we take advantage of this opportunity in your wonderful, loving call, which is going out to the messengers from so many of you loved ones. We take this opportunity to start the radiation, in preparation for the time when we shall be in your midst with the messengers. As you understand that, you, in the acknowledgement of your presence, now become the master of yourself and your world. Can you imagine anything more joyful or more wonderful than this marvelous beginning of your freedom, when so long everything outside, so to speak, has mastered you and your world? Instead of that, you shall become the master of your own world. One of the most wonderful fundamental things which can ever come into the conscious feeling world of mankind, is to know those exact words. Will you all forever retain this explanation, together with the momentum you gain in your feeling world to accept your presence above you? It is not necessary to see it immediately, but to feel that it is actually there, giving you the full power of its outpouring into your world. Then through your feeling, it will answer your call always. As you come to realize this, you will know not one single discordant thing. Not one limiting thing which has appeared before you up to this time, can longer remain in your world. Not only that, but when your attention, through your feeling, really knows your presence is there, that moment, precious ones, your ascension begins. Think of it, precious hearts. After so many hundreds of centuries, having lived in bodies similar to these, sometimes more free, sometimes less so, now you have again re-embodied at this time to receive the transcendent knowledge of the mighty I Am presence. In the clearness with which blessed Saint Germain has brought it forth to mankind. Think of it. Not since the height of the last great civilization on Atlantis has it ever come into the world like this. Fragments have come forth. Those in the retreats, and some of the priesthood of Egypt knew these laws, but many distorted them. Today, this mighty law of the I Am has come forth in its simplicity and clearness. This time, it is being protected by the great host of ascended masters, so human concepts do not intrude into this instruction which Saint Germain has brought forth. It is clear, all-powerful, and definite. As you apply it, you must have your results. I urge you, precious ones. You who are so sincere and so in earnest, I plead with you, read those books. Read. And read. And read them, until they actually become a part of yourself in your feeling world. It is not necessary that you remember all the wording that is there, but as you continue to read, through the powerfully charged vibratory action of the books, you will anchor within yourselves the exact truth which is recorded there. I call your attention, precious ones, especially to the activities which took place in the Cave of Symbols, the activity that took place in the Royal Teton, and third, the closing activity of the Magic Presence, which took place in Chananda's home in the Cave of Light in India. Dear hearts, read often even just those parts, when you feel so impelled. Always finish with the close of the Magic Presence in Chananda's home in India. It is only a short part there, but if you will do that, you will receive such assistance. You do not need to take your time from other things just especially. You will be suddenly impelled to take up the book and read certain parts. Then feel that which you read, and you will take into your feeling world exactly the quality which is recorded in those words. Remember, those words are cups that carry the quality which the ascended ones wish to convey to you. That is why these books are so much more powerful than anything which has ever come into the outer world. It is a very rare thing to find the number who are present here so harmonized that they are like one heartbeat. Can you imagine our joy to find it so? We shall expect some wonderful things to come from within your city of Houston. I assure you, if your devotion, your joy, your love, and your loyalty to the light continue, you can bring forth anything. Then, just rejoice and go on as one happy family here, held in the arms of the mighty I Am Presence, in the great acceptance of its wondrous light, for it is the governor of the universe. Let it just pour through each body its wondrous currents of energy to heal and to enlighten. Let its perfecting activity fill you, until every one becomes such a blazing light that anyone touching your radiance will feel its mighty healing presence. Do you know, dear hearts, that in the acknowledgement of your presence, every one becomes a pillar of light which contains healing, freeing, perfecting, blessing, enlightening power? It is not your human form that does it, but in your acceptance of the mighty I Am Presence, your human form becomes a pillar of light, or a dynamo of the energy and power from the Presence, pouring out its radiance. Dear hearts, even in your homes and business you will find it is not only the source of all harmony and supply, but just feel the great power of your presence flow forth through your heart, spread out, and fill your home and world with the glory of its presence. Do not ever urge this knowledge of the mighty I Am upon anyone, but always keep pouring forth its light through the radiation. Then, hundreds whom you touch will suddenly turn and many times use these exact words, "What is it I feel about you?" Because this radiation going forth will become so powerful, with your attention upon it, that often people will feel it to such an extent, they will actually turn and ask you about it. The messengers have so often experienced this, and every one of the earnest students will become the same great radiation of light. You cannot give your attention earnestly to the presence, dear hearts, without a constantly greater, and greater outpouring of this radiance coming forth, because that is the law of your being. It is not a matter of your needing to impel something forth. The presence is always joyously happy, ready, and willing. Let me anchor within your consciousness this one thing: every time you call to your presence, know that the presence of an unascended being, as you see on the chart, does not know anything about your limitations down here. It has provided your higher mental body, which is the discriminating, selective intelligence by which your needs and requirements are known. Your higher mental body knows your limitations and knows the perfection of the presence, but will not accept your limitation. Therefore, that is the blessing to all mankind. Realize this. And know that when you call to your presence, your higher mental body sees all the requirements down here, knows exactly how and what to release to fulfill your need. Do you see, precious ones, there could not be a single failure in any one of your calls? This is what I want you to feel every morning, and keep yourselves reminded in every call. My higher mental body is my discriminating, selective intelligence, and when I call to my presence, it cannot fail to respond. It has waited throughout the centuries for me to give it recognition in order to produce perfection in my world. Therefore, your human intellect will never come back at you and try to argue with you about the activity. This is what mankind needs, because it is the human which has argued humanity out of its higher ideals all the time. In many of the precious schools of metaphysics, people have used this expression, and I say it because some of you may have used it. For instance, I am the supply of the money I require. Your intellect will often come back and say, where is it? I am trying to fortify you against that. It is true, but if you will instead say, mighty I am presence, see that I am supplied with all the money I require, then your intellect cannot come back and say, where is it? Many times people have had great difficulty with just this point. This good messenger himself in the earlier years had great difficulty with it. We call your attention to it, so if at any time your attention is called to it, you are immediately the master. We have all heard your precious call, and our love pours back to you like a mighty river. I enfold you in the radiance of my being, of Saint Germain, Jesus, and the mighty divine director. The mighty divine director has charged into your heart center certain qualities which he wishes to expand and amplify for you. Today is a day for which we shall always rejoice, because it is our first opportunity to give our enfolding presence direct, through your attention. You cannot imagine just yet what it means to have the messengers at a given point where these great pillars of light may be drawn for radiation. They, being the first opportunity for the outpouring of this great energy of the I Am, naturally must remain the great central focus for its activity. When we move them about from place to place, it is because the great need is there for greater light to be drawn, to expand, and to do its perfect work. Everything in the universe came out of light, and all must again become the light. Remember, light is self-luminous, intelligent substance, from which all form is composed. Divine love is self-luminous, intelligent substance, therefore one with light and love. It is the power which no sinister force in the world can use. All everything which is unlike the light and the power of the presence of divine love, fears it. So you, in your acknowledgement of the presence, which is the light of the world, have naught to fear in all the world, visible or invisible. Stand within the radiance of your presence, and go forth free from every limitation, and then into your ascension. The love of the mighty host of ascended masters, the legion of light, and the great cosmic beings enfolds you now and forever. I thank you.